Now we'll give the time to Mr. Gowdy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Graham, the phrase cost-benefit analysis sounds impossible to disagree with, much like shared sacrifice and balanced approach and some other phrases we've heard recently. How could one possibly not agree with a cost-benefit analysis? So my question to you is, can that analysis be gamed or manipulated, and if so, how?
Yes, there are a lot of assumptions and inputs that go into a calculation of cost or benefit. And if you're trying to tell a good story about a regulation, you can try to pick the inputs that make the regulation look good. If you're trying to make the regulation look bad, you can try to pick some that make them look bad. The key role that OIRA has in this process is to review these cost-benefit analysis and make sure that they're reasonably well done.
Mr. Arkush, do you agree with one famous law professor by the name of Cass Sunstein, who said, expensive regulations may well increase prices, reduce wages, and increase unemployment? You agree with him?
I'm still waiting for Mr. Sunstein to provide the evidence to substantiate that conclusion.
So you disagree with him? Well, let me go to his boss, President Obama. There are some rules and regulations that put an unnecessary burden on a business. Is the President right or wrong?
I don't doubt that we could imagine there might be some, but the President hasn't.
Can you name one? Because he said he could come up with 501 if you include his salmon example from the State of the Union.
That's right. And the conclusion among consumer groups like mine and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce was that the administration didn't find that much. There just aren't that many overly burdensome, unnecessary regulations.
You can't think of a single solitary rule or regulation that is unnecessary or duplicative.
I didn't say I can't think of a single one.
Well, name one.
There are 500 examples that the President came up with. The President, for example, is going to reduce, they're going to make certain record keeping electronic rather than in paper. That's a great idea.
Is that the only one you can think of?
I didn't come here to speak about examples of overly burdensome regulations. When the administration went looking, they found 500 individual ones, but none of them is very significant. And that's what the U.S. Chamber of Commerce thinks, not just me.
If someone were to say we should have no more regulation than the health, safety, and security of the American people require, you agree with that or disagree with that as a standard of review for regulations and rules?
I think it's a reasonable formulation, but it's a little odd. I don't think that the question is, do we have too much regulation or too little? I think it's whether we have the right regulation.
Do you know who said that?
I believe that might have been the President of the United States.
It was, and let me ask you with respect to a couple of specific examples, can you tell me how the health, safety, and security of the American people are impacted by the NLRB's new quickie election rules?
I'm actually not an expert on those rules at all, but I do know that union membership in this country has declined a lot in the last several decades.
Historic low.
And that's, yes, and that's, and it's correlated with poor income distribution. It's correlated with.
So you agree that that rule is calculated solely to drive up union membership? That's what you just said.
Absolutely not.
That's what you just said.
I was responding. I was taking for granted. I thought that you were saying it was a pro-union rule, and I was taking that for granted in my answer.
But you agree that it was calculated solely to drive up union membership?
I have no idea. I'm not familiar with the rule.
Can you tell me how the posting of posters informing workers of their right to unionize but not their right to decertify a union impacts the health, safety, or security of the American public?
I believe that all Americans should have adequate knowledge about their rights.
Including their right to decertify if they're in a union?
They should have knowledge of any right that they have. I believe that unions work best when they're democratic. I believe that workplaces work best when they respect their workers and respect the choice to join unions if that's what workers want.
So you would disagree with and argue against an NLRB rule or regulation that only gave half of a worker's right, the right to unionize, but did not inform them of their right to decertify a union?
You know, in the abstract, I don't know much about these rules, but sure, sounds like they should know about their full rights.
All right, the redefining of bargaining units, can you tell me how that impacts the health, safety, or security of the American public?
I don't even know what you mean by the redefining of bargaining units.
Reconstituting who can vote in union elections and the majority necessary to win? How does that impact the health, safety, or security of the American public?
I would guess that, again, I don't know, I'm not familiar with these rules, but I would guess that whoever put them in place has a pretty well thought out theory on how it helps.
Could it be raising membership in unions? Could that be the well thought out goal?
That might be, and that would actually be a laudable goal if it were.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.